Welcome to Your Unapologetic Life, the podcast. I'm Morgan Barkis, your body confidence coach, with a unique blend of education and experience. With degrees in psychology and marriage and family therapy, coupled with over a decade of working as an exotic dancer as well as a exotic dance and fitness instructor, I'm here to guide you on a transformative journey. If you're ready to break free from societal norms and embrace your authentic self, you're in the right place. Tune in for insightful conversations and empowering strategies that will help you rediscover your confidence. As a special gift to you, I'm offering an exclusive Lose the Midlife Belly guide. All you have to do is visit morganbarkis.com and subscribe to my email list. Let's dive into this episode. Being a stripper cured me. I'll take you back. When I first started working, I was 26 years old. I wanted to go to graduate school full-time, work part-time, and still be able to pay all my bills. So I thought, what is the easiest way to make money legally? I'm not exactly the drug dealer type, and I didn't know what else to do where I could make the most amount of money in the least amount of time. And I will admit that I was curious about entertaining. I had started working at an exotic dance and fitness studio for the everyday woman, teaching pole fitness classes, pole dance classes. I was teaching some lap dance workshops and eventually created a 6-week exotic dance workshop. And I was still early on in my teaching career and figuring out for myself just the freedom and empowerment that I felt doing exotic dance, and then also watching other women come to classes and transform not so much their bodies. They usually would be more fit and feel more strong physically, and it was their attitude and their confidence that was boosted and changed more than anything when I would do my classes and workshops and observe the women that would come in regularly and just how empowered they felt and this sense of solidarity with the other women in the classes, because no one was there judging each other. They were there for themselves and to tap into something, a femininity, a power, a strength inside themselves. I would have women who were high-powered business execs that would come in to my pole dance class and just feel free to be around other women, in little booty shorts, and it didn't matter their body size or their age. And I remember this one woman, and she had a dynamite tattoo on her ankle that she had gotten after her divorce, and she was easily in her 50s as well, and not in shape in the conventional or idealistic way, and yet, just an average woman who wanted to feel sexy and powerful and take back something she felt like she lost in a relationship that wasn't working for her. And these were the kind of women that were in my classes. And I was, like I said, teaching at that time, and then it was getting on to the fall, and I had enrolled in graduate school, and I thought, how am I going to work and go to school full time? And so I went to the woman who owned the dance studio that I worked at, and I asked her about entertaining. And I said, you did it. You put yourself through school as a single mom with 3 kiddos. I'm a 26-year-old woman, no kiddos, and still bills to pay, and I wanna go to school, get it done as quick as possible, so I wanna go full time. I'm thinking about dancing. And she said, "Morgan, I wouldn't encourage you to do it, and if you want to do it, I will help you." And I said, "I want to do it." And yes, I wanted to put myself through school and make as much money as I could and only work part-time. And I will admit, I was curious. I am the person that lives by the motto, if you don't try, you won't know. And I am like that. I'm a risk taker. I'm the girl that quit her job got rid of everything I owned, packed up my Cadillac car and drove to Miami. Like I didn't have a job, I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't know, but I knew I would figure it out. And that is what I do. There have been times in my life where I try to be quote unquote more responsible and stable. And even then, I have to express myself and be creative in some way and take risks in some way because that is just how I am. I'm a very curious person and I want to understand, I want to experience. And performing was one of those things. I really was drawn to the rhinestones and the hair and makeup and the beautiful gowns. And I basically went around Minneapolis, Minnesota, where I was living at the time, and went to every strip club in the city. And I was like, where do I want to work? If I'm going to do this, I need to do the research and figure out where I want to work. And I ended up narrowing it down to two places. There were some places I went that was an automatic full body, no way am I going to work here. It was just dark, dingy, felt grimy, and I was looking for classy, sophisticated, because despite the negativity and the judgment around the entertainment business, there are classy establishments. And when I started back in 2006, it was even more so than it is now. You know, I was in the industry long enough. I was in the industry almost a decade and a half. So I saw the change. And even when I got in at 2006, the girls that had been more seasoned than me 5, 10 years, they were telling me about the good old days, like prior to 2008. And then way before that, when expense accounts were, endless wells of put it on the credit card, the company credit card sort of atmosphere, and the money was just so easy back in those days. And then the industry shifted, in my opinion, quite a bit from classy and truly an entertainer entertaining to just an advertisement for the online platforms or going outside and getting paid to do things that some of us were unwilling to do because we were entertainers. We weren't looking to sell other services, if you will. So, anyway, that is quite a bit of uh, um, a left turn there. No, that's not the word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. Uh, let's go back to teaching, graduate school, getting into the industry. That's how I got into the industry. I found two clubs that I wanted to work in and auditioned at both. And one told me I didn't have enough experience. And ironically, years later, I ended up working there. And they were like, yeah, huge mistake. We should have hired you initially because I was a really good entertainer. I enjoyed being on stage. I had a very positive attitude and I made eye contact and I interacted with people when I was on stage and I really enjoyed performing. So it was just something that I picked up very quickly and I enjoyed. There's a lot more to the job than that. And I will not be getting into that on this podcast. It's truly a sales business. You are selling your goods person to person to person. You get a ton of rejection. People can say downright unkind things, but mostly it was, no, I'm not interested, or I'm looking for. I had one guy say, you're really attractive and you're super smart, but I'm actually looking for a stupid stripper. And I was like, got it. Okay. So, everybody has what they're looking for. I had one guy, I was probably a good 10 feet away from him, even walking toward him with a smile on my face. And he put up his hand like a traffic stop sign and he's like, no. And I said, you got it. Have a good night. So you learn how to take rejection and you learn that it's not personal. It's just a job. Some people are going to be interested. Some people are not. Some need a little bit of convincing. It was just a sales job for me. So and I really enjoyed the solidarity of the girls. Especially when I moved to Miami, even more so than Minnesota, because they say Minnesota nice. Yes, on the face of it, folks can be real nice, and there can be a lot of clickiness and backstabbingness, if you will. Whereas when I moved to Miami, the girls were so friendly, so curious, like, "Oh my god, welcome. Where are you from? Let me show you around." And we were so supportive of each other and really celebrated the uniqueness of every body, and I mean every body, because tons of age groups, um, ethnicities, nationalities, um, there was just thick girls and skinny girls and tattooed girls and non-tattooed girls, and it was just a plethora of beautiful bodies. And going back to my very, very first experience when I was in Minnesota, the first club I worked at and some of my first days on the floor, if you will, there was a girl I worked with by the name of Violet. That was her entertainer name. And I was amazed by her, and I can still in my mind picture her walking away from me, and she was just in her G-string and her high heel shoes, and she was off to go into a VIP area with a guest. And I thought, here in my mind all this time, I thought women had to look a certain way. I grew up looking at 17 magazine. They didn't have internet in my day when I was growing up, so I wasn't exposed to social media. There was nothing to look up online. I had dial up, and all I used it for was to research science papers I had to write in high school. So it wasn't like was exposed to a lot in terms of outside influences. And I think that for women, it doesn't matter if you're from the 50s and 60s or if you're from the 2020s. There is exposure to what I heard on a podcast once by someone who does body image stuff with women and eating disorder stuff. A body lineage, like if it came from your mom, your grandmother, somewhere, somehow, your cousin, your sister, somebody said something negative about their body and or critiquing other bodies. And when you're young and you're of influence, you start to take in those critiques and you think, okay, well, this person's critiquing themselves or this other person. How do I measure up? Where am I supposed to be? And I'm not tall and skinny and I don't have long legs and so for me, I was so down on myself because I was 5'3" and curvy. And I wanted to be 5'10" and skinny with long legs. And I didn't have that. And I in all cruelness, used to refer to myself as a tree stump. I didn't like that I was short and I was more curvy than I wanted to be. And I really carried that with me. And I'm talking like 17, 18, all the way until I started dancing at 26. And like I said, this moment that Violet was walking away from me, and I thought, okay, this girl is far from what's perfect or seen as perfect in the magazines or on the TV. And yet she has this aura about her. She was so fun to be around and she was confident in herself. She had very small breasts. She was very curvy around the hips. She was a kid and so she had some stretch marks. And she just didn't fit what I had been seeing in 17 magazine or, like I said, in the movies or on TV as what was ideal and perfect. And she wasn't, she was I don't know, I think she had maybe some Latina in her. And I just thought, I am so hung up on what I thought was perfect. And in that moment, it was blown to bits in the best way. I realized there was no such thing as perfect. There was no such thing as perfect. Everything I was striving to be, starving myself to be, binging and purging to be. I used to, when I went off, so out of, so I was going into 19 years old when I started starving myself because I wanted a flatter stomach and realized that if I didn't eat, wow, my stomach was flatter, right? Well, unfortunately, that led into anorexia, which lasted for a good, I don't know, 3 to 4 years. And then I wanted to go away to college, and my parents were like, "We're not letting you go away from us. You're just, it's not okay. It's this is a mental health issue. This is not okay." Um, and I said, "Okay, I promise. I'll start eating, and I'll start, And then I went the other way, and I just everything that I had restricted myself from and had as off limits, I just went in the other direction and just ate and ate and ate and everything. And I was so out of balance. But I was still carrying the guilt of that if I did eat it. And so then there were times where it was exercising for hours and hours and hours, or not eating for a day, thinking that would make up for the next day. And I was just in a horrible cycle. And I swear to you, on that night when I watched Violet walk away from me, it stopped. All of it stopped because I realized it didn't matter. It was so disillusioned. I was believing something that wasn't true and was setting these unrealistic, ridiculous expectations on myself that I was genetically how I was, and that was okay. That my desirability and my likability and my beauty and my sexiness had nothing to do with this quote unquote perfect body. And that was early 2006. Well, middle 2006. So I started dancing in July of 2006. I ended up going to graduate school that fall and finishing my graduate degree in 2010, and worked as a therapist full time and then danced part time on the weekends, and then ended up leaving the conventional therapy world to move to Miami. I continued to dance and started my online coaching business, helping other women feel empowered in their own bodies and really embrace the stage they're at in their life, accepting their bodies as they are, and controlling what they can control. You can control your skincare. You can control your cute haircuts. You can get your nails done if you want to. You can dress for your body type. Get a stylist, or find out more about style for your body type. Work out, stay fit and strong and healthy. Eat for your weight, eat for your health, not your weight. Work out for your mental health, not for your weight. I had a woman come back to me years later after I taught group fitness at an Orange Theory in California. And years later, she hit me up on the Instagram in the DMs and she said, "Morgan, just wanted you to know, really appreciated how you were as a coach. And even though Orange Theory Fitness had weight loss challenges, etc., I never talked about losing weight, being a certain size, looking a certain way. It was so much about what you had inside of you, having that lioness spirit that you could do anything, be anything, power through something, figure something out, and that what defines you as beautiful and sexy and strong and perfect the way you were was how you carried yourself, your attitude about yourself, your positivity, your outlook on life. That was what was drawing people to you, and that was what was going to power you through your own life. Little off topic there, but you get my point. It's just really, it has that lesson I learned all those years ago in 2006 when Violet walked away from me. in that strip club that was an old Federal Reserve building with its really, really, really high ceilings and marble walls and giant chandelier in the middle of the room. In this business that some people look down on and judge people for and portray in a terrible way on TV and movies, by the way. Not all strip clubs are like that. Some are quite classy and fun to be in. Anyway, the lesson I learned on that evening was let go of all of the things I've been holding on to, how I am supposed to be, and just be me. Focus on what I have to offer in my attitude and in my positivity and how I add value because I am the way I am. I don't have to be any other way except for how I am. And that's all you have to be. Again, control what you can control. Get your hair done. Get your nails did if you want to. Step up your style game. I invite you to get to that place, to realize these expectations you're setting on yourself are coming from somewhere else. And they're probably stemming from some body lineage that you picked up when you were a kiddo, from someone who was very critical of themselves or others. And you're grown now, and you get to decide what your story's going to be and what your truth is. And I'm inviting you to realize that your truth is you are perfectly perfect the way you are. And it is your attitude about yourself and about life that makes you sexy, beautiful, and desirable. I can't give you the experience I had that night when I watched Violet walk away. I can't recreate it for you. What I can share with you is my experience and my realization. What I realized is that nobody was created equal. And for good reason. That uniqueness is what is so valuable. As I shared, my experiences as a stripper taught me invaluable lessons about body image, acceptance, and the diverse standards of beauty that exist all over the world. It became clear to me that every body tells a unique story. And the most important thing is not how we look, but how we carry ourselves and the confidence we exude. My invitation to you is to take a moment to reflect on your own beliefs about beauty and desirability. Ask yourself, how do you perceive your body? How do you view the women around you? Remember, there is no one size fits all for worthiness or beauty. Each of us has our own path, and we have the power to redefine how we see ourselves and the women around us. If my journey resonated with you, I encourage you to dig deeper into your own feelings about body image and confidence. Embrace the uniqueness of your journey, your body, and the diversity of women around you. Let's challenge the societal standards that try to box us in. If you're ready to explore this further and want to dive deeper into these concepts, I invite you to connect with me. Together, we can work on reshaping your perspective and building a more positive body image through my coaching program. Remember, you are beautiful, just as you are. And the world needs your uniqueness. Until next time, embrace your individuality and remember, you are enough exactly as you are. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Your Unapologetic Life. I hope you found inspiration and practical tips to help you embrace your unique beauty. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with at least one woman in your life that you care about. Hit that follow button And if this episode resonates with you, take a moment to rate and review. Your support helps us reach more women on their journeys to confidence. And remember, for even more resources, including my exclusive Lose the Midlife Belly guide filled with my personal tips and tricks, visit morganbarkus.com and subscribe to my email list. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait to connect with you in the next episode.